for joining me. I am your host, Richard Earl Hammonds III. It's a pleasure to get to know you and to rap with you and to get to the bottom line. What is the bottom line, you might ask? The bottom line is growth, development. That's what we're trying to reach here at Dawn in the Darkness. Today, we're going to be going over some critical reactions to audiobooks. And now I know this isn't a popular thing, audiobooks, but that's what we do here. We grow, we learn in the form of learning from the past, mainly biographies and autobiographies. We're going to go over today again a autobiography that was done and created right after the Reformation, about 40 years after or during that period of Reformation from the antebellum slave period of this country. Now, a lot of people haven't heard of this book, but the book is called Following the Color Line by Ray Stannard Baker. Now, Ray Stannard Baker, no one's ever heard of this guy. The only reason I heard of him is because it came up on my timeline. And I clicked on the audiobook because I love audiobooks. And this guy is amazing. He goes and does all this research and statistical analysis on how the newly freed slaves were handling their newfound freedom and emancipation, how they were integrating the struggles that they were dealing with, the kickback that they were getting from whites, and as well as a full and fair perspective of the white people and their full opinion on Negroes in general, mulattoes, and everyone else that has a major say, mainly whites and blacks and mulattoes. That's how it's broken down. It's also broken down in the realm of having a, southern versus a northern perspective, because the South and the North, they handle things differently than each other, because culturally they were almost completely different. They're like completely different countries at this point. This is before television starts to get popping and uniting the country under one scope or one view. We had entirely different worldviews, the South and the North. But they're human, just like we're all human, and they suffered from a lot of prejudices that were the same, but they applied them very differently. This isn't bringing anything back on how things are today. They're completely different, but we have to analyze these things and fully grasp how to move forward as an American people together and unification, and tough conversations have to be had. So we're gonna go into it. Let's get into it. Right. Share my screen. All right, this is a three-part.
Together.
This is a three-part series. It's about 13 hours of information that we're gonna go through, step by step, bit by bit, bite by bite, precept by precept, and we're going to learn and actually get out of the darkness, y'all, the informational darkness, so that we'll be able to make sound decisions. Let's go. All right. Where are we gonna start at? Give me a second. I'm just looking up. I got notes, y'all. I listened to all 13 hours, so I have notes on where we're going to start off. All right. So we're going to get into what is called the Atlanta riot in Brownsville, Atlanta. Shout out to Atlanta. Y'all need some help. Y'all really do. It's crazy out there in Atlanta. A lot of crazy standards, a lot of LGBT, a lot of foolishness, in my opinion. Just in my opinion. But we're gonna get into how people, particularly black people, got into this state of confusion and not being in the best light to grow socially as well as economically, because you have to grow socially and economically. And we're going to hit it today during the Brownsville riot in Atlanta, seeing what happened, what was the cause and effect, what the tea was being drunk in, who was drinking it. They didn't have Kool-Aid back then. At least I don't think they had Kool-Aid back. Who was drinking the tea? Who was misleading? Who was being misled? Who was abused? Who was not given a fair shake? And who was? Who was brave and who was a coward? All of them, whether white or black, because you have bad people on both sides. A lot of people don't want to say it. You got a lot of bad people. Not a lot. You have a good amount of bad people on both sides. And you have a few genuinely courageous, brave people on both sides. And we're going to go into it right now. All right. So I'm going to play the audio and we're going to just get into it, guys.
Me. Now, I am telling these things just as they look to the Negro. It is quite as important as a problem in human nature to know how the Negro feels and what he says, as it is to know how the white man feels. How the newspapers fomented the riot. On the afternoon of the riot, the newspapers in flaming headlines chronicled 4 assaults by Negroes on white women. I had a personal investigation made of each of those cases. 2 of them may have been attempts at assaults, but 2 palpably were nothing more than fright on the part of both the white woman and the Negro. As an instance, in one case, an elderly woman, Mrs. Martha Holcomb, going to close her blinds in the evening, saw a Negro on the sidewalk. In a terrible fright, she screamed. The news was telephoned to the police station, but before the officials could respond, Mrs. Holcomb telephoned them not to come out. And yet, this was one of the assaults chronicled in letters 5 inches high in a newspaper extra. And finally, on this hot Saturday half holiday, when the country people had come in by hundreds, when everyone was out of doors, when the streets were crowded, when the saloons had been filled since early morning with white men and Negroes, both drinking, certain newspapers in Atlanta began to print extras with big headings announcing new assaults on white women by Negroes. The Atlanta News published 5 such extras, and newsboys cried them through the city. Third assault, fourth assault, The whole city, already deeply agitated, was thrown into a veritable state of panic. The news in the extras was taken as truthful, for the city was not in a mood then for a cool investigation. Calls began to come in from every direction for police protection. A loafing Negro in a backyard, who in ordinary times would not have been noticed, became an object of real terror. The police force, too small at best, was thus distracted and separated. In Atlanta, the proportion of men who go armed continually is